I see the show rolling. All right, we got some NFL stuff going on today. Just kind of a quick recap of the week we're gonna do. Just kind of see where all these teams are standing with, I believe, 4 games each left in the regular season. I believe it's four weeks left, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I believe, most teams are like 8-4, 4-8, which that would be 4 more games. Yeah, okay. So teams that are looking good coming out of the weekend. Shockingly, the Browns are looking absolutely fantastic. Late game defense was a little bit of a concern. They almost let the Titans slip back into that, but going into the half up 38-7 against a really good Titans squad. That shocked me. I mean, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are honestly carrying that team because when they're running and they're running good, they're opening up so much in the passing game for Baker Mayfield to get it out to his wide receivers. So, honestly, they're looking great. I'm honestly impressed by them. I knew they'd be good and they'd probably make the playoffs, but they're looking like that game impressed me. Like, I knew they were good, but the game against the Titans, it was impressive. Who's one of your bigger winners coming out of the week?
For me, oddly enough, I'd have to say the NFC East.
Yeah.
Somehow Washington and the Giants and Washington both just won this week. Now they're up to 5-7. Both of them, well, the Giants are actually in the playoffs because the division's that bad. But even Washington's only a game out of the playoffs. So whether they win the division or not, they're still right in the middle of wild card discussion.
Mm-hmm. And as much as I don't like Washington, that would be if Alex Smith, even if he doesn't step on even if he just steps onto the football field, should be comeback player of the year easily. But now that he's contributing to winning football, after what he's gone through, easily comeback story of the year, comeback player of the year, no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind.
Someone else, I think that'd be just highway robbery.
Oh, 100%. It'd be absolutely terrible. And then I already know some of your losers. Let's talk about some losers of this week. Mitch.
Yep.
I already know who you're going to talk about.
Well, let's start with the two teams that laid eggs this week. Seattle. Let's start with them. Hard to start to talk about this being a Seattle fan myself, actually. God, what happened? What happened? The Giants don't have Colt McCoy. They don't have Saquon Barkley. So they're missing basically the two focal points of their offense. They're down. They don't have Devonta Freeman either, which was a replacement running back. So they're down to Wayne Gallman, Dion Lewis. Their quarterbacks Colt McCoy, and they have some options on the receiving end. You lose 17-12. I don't understand this.
I mean,
how? Seattle's supposedly the best offense in the league. No one can stop them. And then the Giants, who apparently just as of lately, the Giants, they're on a 4-game winning streak now. Their defense has been playing very, very well. Which, if that's really the case, if they can keep playing at a high level, which apparently they have the last couple of weeks. If they can keep doing that, I think, no doubt in my mind, Giants take the NFC East because once they get some guys back on the offensive end, their offense is still going to suck beyond belief. Mm. But if their defense can keep carrying them to wins, they'll push them far enough ahead to win the East and then get demolished by probably Seattle or whoever's the 5 seed. But
yeah. Yeah, I love that. The Giants are on a 4-game winning streak, and they only have 5 wins in total, if that shows you how bad they were. They were 1-7. But I think one of the biggest things that hurt Seattle was especially. I forgot. I forgot if it was a specific play. I forgot if it was the first quarter or the second. I forgot when it happened, but when they forced they blocked the punt.
They blocked the punt.
And they went for it, and it just popped out of his arms and slipped out of bounds, and I'm just like, oh my. It's early in the game, so I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna affect anything, and then they lose, and I'm like, oh.
It probably wouldn't have made much. I mean, it would have tied it, but who knows what would have happened in overtime. Seattle's offense was so awful that game, they might have just lost anyway.
Yeah. Also, by the way, we have a lot of losers this week to talk about. There aren't that many winners, but there are a lot of losers. So continue on with your next team that I know you're going to talk about.
Yeah, so the last undefeated team, well, actually I have two other losers.
Oh, no, I have a couple losers too. I think we have some of the same losers.
Probably, but I'll start with the undefeated team, who is no longer undefeated after losing to Washington.
It was a Monday. It was like a 5:10 kickoff time on a Monday night on a Monday after evening. That's what screwed them up. They played at 5 o'clock on Monday.
Maybe.
It's so weird.
But Pittsburgh's team in that game just looked really, really bad. I mean, it seems like they were very disinterested in just playing the game. I mean, they were without James Conner, but there was people who thought that they wouldn't have James Conner this year, that they'd go with different people instead. But I mean, Pittsburgh was even up at the beginning of the game, 14-0. They were basically in control of the game, and little by little, Washington kept creeping back in, and eventually they just took the lead, and Pittsburgh was not doing anything, especially even defensively. They had not looked special. I mean, even Washington's running back, Antonio Gibson, he wasn't even in the game. He got hurt. So they had Peyton Barber, and he was just tearing them up. And another thing about Washington, all of a sudden, the Washington defense is starting to show up and is starting to look good. Except Washington actually, I think, has a decent-looking defense. They have nice players. So I'm not surprised that they're actually doing pretty well defensively. The Giants, I'm very surprised by. There's not really a whole lot of players I know that the Giants have that are anything special besides Jabril Peppers. I don't know if anybody else, and Peppers has not been special in the NFL. Mm-hmm. But Washington has really been impressing me lately. They also are on a winning streak. They've won 3 in a row. So yes, they are 2-7. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they had Saquon Barkley, they'd have run away with the division. And I hate to say it for the Steelers fans. I hate to say it, but as someone who loves defense can only carry you so far in today's game. And that goes for pretty much most sports nowadays. The offensive fireworks, flashy plays, and all that is what's taking over. It's no longer grit and grind, strong defense wins games. And the Steelers showed that. They've played very close and gotten lucky a couple times to scrape by, but this time they couldn't scrape by the name redacted.
Well, late in the game, their offense just stalled. There was no movement offensively. Lazy throws, terrible play. Washington was easily gained to Big Ben. He threw a pick late, which basically killed them.
That ended it.
It was very poor play from the Steelers. And as for Seattle, it's literally the exact opposite of the Steelers. Their offense has been great all season long, but as of lately, and I'm starting to see this from Seattle now, their offense has not been doing the exact same thing that they were earlier in the season. Their offense was scoring like 40-30 a game. Now all of a sudden you're starting to see the Seattle offense slow down a little bit. And since their defense is so putrid, now it's starting to bite them in the butt. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to play some kind of defense. yeah, you want to have your offense be good. Is why being a one-dimensional team is very hard in any aspect of any game. Because you only can play very well, a very high level on one side of the ball. When you have this low-end football on the other side, it makes it hard. And for Seattle, that showed against the Giants. The Giants had no offense, but because their offense couldn't move the ball, the Giants' offense was able to move on Seattle. You gotta be able to play on both sides. If you can't, it makes it hard to win games. Pittsburgh, we have seen two-dimensional play from Pittsburgh all season long, and then against Washington, the offense fell apart. It just goes to show how much both sides of the game are so important in this.
100%. Moving on to some of our other losers. These aren't like true losers because they're already massive losers in the season, but I just want to make some honorable mentions of losers. The LA Chargers. 45-0 at home against the Patriots.
Hey, guess the Patriots are on a mission.
And I was about to say, we're also all losers because the Patriots are now looking for the fight for a playoff spot, which I don't think many people want to see.
I honestly don't see how the Patriots get in. Anyone like 6-5 and under just has no shot. Because you look at the teams ahead of them. Miami.
Well, at least the AFC. At least in the AFC.
They're all 8-4. And they still got past Las Vegas and Baltimore, who are both 7-5. And they have to play the Rams tomorrow. I don't see how it.
No. But Chargers 45-0. Terrible. And our other loser of the week is Greg Williams. Lost his job. Deservedly so. I don't know if he was preserving the tank, preserving the 0-16 season, but with 15 seconds left and your opponent at like the 45-yard line, let's run an all-out blitz and not protect the... You are winning by 4. They can't make a field goal to win. You just gotta not let them in the end zone. And you let the one thing happen by calling the stupidest play.
Who was his mentor? Don Brown?
Don Brown was probably spiritedly calling this game. Oh my gosh, I
don't understand it. Like you said, all they had to do. You don't all-out blitz. Why would you all-out blitz and on the 50-yard line? All you have to do, send guys deep. They can throw under if they want. That's fine. Just do not let them in the end zone.
The one time...
all-out blitz.
The one time...
The corner got absolutely destroyed by Henry Ruggs, and boom, touchdown. They go to 0-12.
The one time Jim Harbaugh's conservative play calling would have worked is in this scenario, and like I said, these first two losers recommendations are not really losers because they're already massive losers, but they just secured 0-16 season with that one right there. All right.
Yep. Their next 4 games are Seattle, the Rams, the Browns, the Patriots.
And then I've got 3 more losers, 2 of which are like big losers, one of which is kind of a uh-oh. So my first of the losers is the Chicago Bears. Once upon a time, 5-1, the best team in the league, 5-1, looking great. They have had a reverse Giants effect. Well, the Giants went 1-7 and then won 4 straight games. The Bears started 5-1 and lost 6 straight games, capping it off with a two possessions with like 4 minutes to go. The Bears were winning by 2 possessions with 4 minutes left. They let the Lions get in there and score, and then they turn it over in their red zone. This is why you don't start Mitchell Trubisky. This is what
Foles was hurt, so they had to.
Oh, you don't have to. You can go sign someone else. You can go sign like Go sign freaking washed up Peyton Manning. I would take a 50-year-old Peyton Manning over Mitch Trubisky in this scenario.
Oh boy.
That was just. Go get me.
Maybe they could have found Tom Savage.
Go get me whatever's remaining of Joe Flacco, and I'll have him start.
He's with the Jets, actually. Wacko.
Good, we'll get him out of there. But I looked at the game and I'm like, oh, look, we're going to lose by 2 possessions to the Bears. Great. And then I look back at it later and I'm like, how did what?
He won. Why?
I don't know. But the Bears.
This is a question by every Lions fan watching this game. We're expecting to lose, or like our season's over, we win, we're like.
Funny thing is, if DeAndre Swift doesn't drop that pass, we're 6-6, and the Bears are 4-8. But
we were right in the playoff discussion.
But then we probably still have Matt Patricia, which Matt Patricia, a defensive coordinator, has the worst defense in the league. You failed at the one thing you were good at.
Well, Seattle's is probably worse than ours.
Onto a kind of a soft loser, because they still won the game, but the Dolphins did not look good against the Bengals early on. I mean, their offense just was, I don't know what was going on, but their offense was just not clicking in the first half. So if they're going to make a final playoff push, they definitely got to get better at getting kind of quick starts offensively. So not really like a huge loser, just kind of wanted to honorably mention them, kind of say, hey, got to get to a little bit of a faster start.
Well, for Miami, this is the first game for Myles Gaskin back. I'm pretty sure this was actually Tua's first game back as well. So all their pieces and parts that were missing for a while are finally playing back together again. And obviously, maybe we're shaking off
a little rusty.
Guys all back in now. And that's a perfect game to do it because their next game is the Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly. They need to make this playoff push. And the last loser, probably one of the bigger losers, the Arizona Cardinals. Absolutely flopping, gasping for air to hold on to their playoff spot, which they have lost right now. Right now, the Vikings have that playoff spot due to wins against common opponents. Lions.
If you want to talk about winners, there's my winner right there. You look at the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah,
remember at the beginning of the season when these guys started? What was it?
1-5.
They were 1-5 to start the season. They lost to the Falcons, Seahawks, Titans, Colts, and Packers. They beat the Packers, and I'm pretty sure I told you when they beat the Packers. This is the moment they turn their entire season around. This is when everything changes because we all knew the Vikings are now a 1-5 team. We all knew that they're better than 1-5. They beat the Packers. I'm like, here's where everything changes. They got a soft schedule.
I was about to say.
Here's a bunch of games where they can turn it around, get some wins, and get back into the playoff picture. 6-6. Next game's the Tampa Bay Bucks, who they're competing with and are also starting to fall off a cliff.
Yeah. Though, to be fair, in this 5-game winning streak, they have beat the Packers, which is good, but they've also beat the Lions, the Bears, the Panthers, and the Jaguars. And their first part was the Colts, Titans, Seahawks. Those were all losses. So, I think it's just Kirk Cousins. Connor Cook ain't play. Connor Cook should start for the Bears. But Kirk Cousins, it's just the same thing Kirk Cousins always does. He looks amazing. He looks great against sub 500 teams. But anybody that's he can pull off the occasional win against like the Packers, but other than that, he can't beat above 500 teams. So the games against the Bucks and the Saints are going to be huge for this team if they want to make their playoff push. They're going to need to beat probably at least one of them as well as at least beat the Bears and the Lions. If you lose to the Bears and the Lions, that's not putting you in a good position. But it'll pretty much be a race between them and the Cards. And the Cards, like I said, have just been slipping. I don't know what's going on. It seems like just their defense, their whole team is a wild card. That's why they belong in the wild card round. Their whole team is a wild card. Some weeks the defense is absolutely explosive. Some weeks the defense is super lackluster. Sometimes Kyler Murray throws for like 7,000 yards and 32 touchdowns in a game, rushes for 200 more. Some games he throws 3 interceptions against the Detroit Lions. It's very inconsistent.
Cardinals, I mean, they have in their 3-game losing streak, they played Seattle and fell. Kyler Murray got hurt in that game, so that didn't really help them. They fell by 7. They made it close. They tried. They couldn't come on top. When they lost to the Patriots, that's when it concerned me. Patriots are not a good team. They're not good. They really are not good. Cardinals should not have lost to New England, and that's when I was starting to look at the Cardinals, and I'm like, they're really starting to slump here. Kyler Murray did not look like himself. Maybe that injury is affecting him. You're seeing Hopkins start to get keyed upon by all kinds of different defenses. They're starting to lock him down, and then against the Rams, their defense just completely fell apart. They ran all over them, and all of a sudden for the Rams, Cam Akers, 21 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown. He has done nothing all season long. Now all of a sudden, Cam Akers is right in position with the number 1 spot. I thought this is where he would end up being. It took way longer for him to get there, but it's good to see Cam Akers as the number 1 guy for the Rams. I think he's a fantastic running back, and I'm really excited to see what he can do if he really takes over as the number 1 guy here for the LA Rams to finish off the season.
And the Rams, as well, proven a lot of people wrong. A lot of people thought they weren't going to be that good to mediocre, but they should be making the playoffs. And I mean, I think they're winning the division right now.
What's big for the Rams is their defense has been playing out of its mind. It's looking like the old defense that they had when that 2018 season when they went to the playoff. That defense was unbelievable. They're like number 1 in the league, basically. And the Rams defense is starting to look like that same kind of team. I mean, they're not that good, but they obviously have a ton of talent. They obviously are playing very, very well. And also their offense has been looking all right. I mean, like you've always said that Jared Goff is just a good enough quarterback. He's not awful. He's not good. He's just middle of the road. And that's a perfect description for Jared Goff. He makes the plays when you need him to. But when you have a comfortable lead, he's not really going to do anything.
He's not gonna be electric.
Yeah, but if you need him to make a play for you, he'll do it. He'll 100% make that play for you and get you in position to at least do something.
Which is why the Rams have been winning. I mean, sure, the first half of their schedule is pretty easy, but even these wins just against the Cards and the Seahawks, those are pretty big wins, and Cards, unfortunately, still have to play the Rams, but that's going to be the big thing if the Cards want to make their push. Just like the Vikings, they have their 2 games that they must win against a Giants team that's surging, which is going to be a hard one to win. An Eagles team, which they'll probably win. The Eagles are bad. They'll have to beat the 49ers, which 50-50, and then they'll have to go and play the Rams again, which could be the big deciding factor. They probably won't win the division. They should make the playoffs, hopefully. If not, I still think there might be a year out before everything fully clicks. This is the first season with Hopkins. I'm excited to see what they're going to be like next year. I've been saying that all year. Like, I think this team's going to be good, but I want to see them next year. But definitely the Rams have been a huge shock. I thought they were going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be where they were now, winning the division with only 4 games left in the season. That's something. They still got to play the Seahawks and Cards, but they also have games against the Patriots and Jets remaining. So this team should be a 10-win team.
Honestly, for me, I guess if I were to go with the biggest surprise of the season, I'd have to go with either the Cleveland Browns or the New Orleans Saints. Cleveland has been very, very good this season. I expect them to be very good. For many years, I've been saying that for a couple of years now, I've been saying, yeah, this team's going to be very good after they went 0-16 in 2017. I thought they would turn it around, but they really didn't last season. They didn't the year before. They weren't really good either one of those years. Now all of a sudden they're 9-3, and this is what I was waiting to see. Their team is finally clicking. They're finally looking like a great team, and really, like you said, what's been carrying them is Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
They opened the pass,
and their defense has also been very, very strong. They have a lot of great players. They have a lot of young talent, and that's why I thought at some point you're gonna see Cleveland absolutely take off and just look like a phenomenal team, and here you go.
Quick note on the Browns.
They're finally filling out their potential. They're finally playing like the great team the great talent that they have. They're playing like they have great talent. And, well, now they're 9-3, and they're pretty much a lock for the playoffs.
Yeah, no, and quick little fun little footnote. My dad sent me a thing the other day that Baker Mayfield, I think like 2 weeks ago or something, passed Big Ben for the most wins by a quarterback in the Cleveland Browns stadium. And as some of you may know, Ben Roethlisberger has never been a quarterback for the Browns. So, in the entirety of the time that the new Cleveland Browns have been a franchise from 2000 onward, Ben Roethlisberger has won more games in that stadium than any actual Browns quarterback. So that doesn't tell you how bad they've been over the past 20 years. I don't know what will. But happy to see them. They're kind of like the Lions where they never do anything, so it's nice to see them do something. My biggest surprise would be the Miami Dolphins. I thought they'd be a decent team, middle of the road, but at 8-4, that's really shocking to me. Even before they put Tua in, Fitzpatrick was playing outstanding. He knew the cards he was dealt. He knew he had one of the worst offensive lines in the game. So he knew, hey, veteran mindset, I got to get this ball out quick. And he did. And it led them to a couple early wins. And they're sitting at 8-4 now, so that's fun. But,
the Dolphins to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
As for 8-4, I don't really know. But I expect them to be like a kind of like low-tier playoff team, just sneak in there possibly, maybe like the 7th seed or something like that, but they're playing a little bit better than a 7th seed, so I'm really excited to see what Miami has in store because, like I said, they're playing at a very high level. The defense has been a big surprise. They have really, really taken off. I thought the Miami defense would be pretty talented this year. I was looking at, and that defense has a lot of talent all over the place. So I'm thinking, Miami has good players on this defense. You gotta watch out for it. Soon enough, this team's about to really fill their potential, and look what's happening. All of a sudden, Miami's defense is taking off. They're shutting down basically every single opponent they play, and it's very impressive for Miami. And it's looking like they'll make the playoffs first time since like 2017-16, I think.
Yeah. Well, that was it for this week. We just talked about some winners and losers and kind of teams that were being putting themselves in the playoff push, as well as some teams that have been eliminated. I think the only two teams to officially be eliminated are the LA Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals. We're the only two teams that are officially can't make the playoffs.
That's Jaguars.
Jaguars too. Yes, Jaguars are. And Jets and Jaguars are also.
Jets, Jaguars, Bengals, Chargers are all out. The rest are still in play.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's it. So we will see you all later. Thank you all for watching, and you all have a great rest of your day. Peace.
See ya.